Now take a look at me now. There's too many
Welcome
roads I've
everyone
seen
to
and tried
this
down.
morning astrology for October 4th, 2021. So today is Monday, October 4th. It's the Moon's Day, the most sensitive, vulnerable day of the week. So be sure to double down on your self-care. We have a Virgo moon today, which is good for organizing and systemizing your processes, getting your nose to the grindstone, getting things done. The Virgo moon today will actually trine Pluto and Capricorn, energizing emotional transformation. Remember, we're still under the full moon energy, the full moon in Pisces energy, because it's a waning moon. You want to use the waning moon to let go and let God, release resistance, visualize what you want to manifest, move on from things that no longer punch your ticket. Get it? Ticket. Because soon we're going to have the new moon in Libra on Wednesday, actually. So keep that in mind. You'll have a new ticket that you want to punch on Wednesday with the new moon in Libra. So come Wednesday, you're going to have the new moon in Libra and a 2-week waxing cycle that's good for inviting and allowing new things into your life to increase fulfillment and joy. New moon in Libra themes include balance, partnership, relationships, love, your audience, consultants, long-term friendships, harmony, and give and take. In the news today, we have Omarosa trending. You remember Omarosa. She's a former aide to President Trump. She wrote a book called Unhinged, an insider's account of the Trump White House. She was on Big Brother, Celebrity Big Brother, dishing the dirt. Well, she actually had a nice little win. She's newly freed from her non-disclosure agreement, which Trump made her sign, and she suggests that Trump won't be healthy enough for a 2024 run for president. The arbitrator, Andrew Brown, said in his decision that the campaign's non-disclosure agreement went too far by forcing Omarosa to, quote, never say anything remotely critical of Mr. Trump, his family, or his family members' businesses for the rest of her life. Brown ruled that such a burden is certainly unreasonable. On MSNBC, Omarosa said that Trump needs to come clean about his health, though she gave no evidence or details of his supposed problems. What's interesting about the ruling of the NDA being non-enforceable is that it could provide a precedent for MAGA defectors and other spurned associates who, intimidated by the vengefully litigious former president, have kept quiet about some of their inside knowledge. So now that the NDA is essentially null and void, they're saying it's going to have massive impact. And Omarosa says that it's because of the way Trump treats people when he's done with them. She says, I really do feel that folks who have been mistreated or embarrassed, who certainly have information to share, will go, well, they haven't heard this story. There are so many people in the room when he was doing things that were so clearly unlawful, unethical, unhinged, whatever you want to use, especially people in the White House. It's not because they're unloyal or don't care about the office or the country. It's because of how he treated people. So in looking at her chart, I was a little surprised to see that she has a Libra rising. Typically with a Libra rising, you would be going along to get along, harmony-focused, relationship-oriented, easygoing, placating to a certain extent. But we notice that Libra rising makes Venus the ruler of her chart, and Venus is retrograde in Capricorn. Now that makes a lot more sense. This makes her approach to life very Capricorn-like. And also it's retrograde, so she's having to relearn lessons in terms of dealing with relationships and love and harmony. So that makes a lot more sense, that Venus ruling her chart, but Venus being retrograde in Capricorn. What's also interesting is that when we look at her chart next to Trump's, we notice that her Saturn, which restricts things, is on his sun. So she restricts his energy, his vitality, his ego in a lot of respects, and to a certain extent, perhaps his destiny. The orbs are pretty wide, but we can actually see evidence of that with the book that she wrote. Also, we notice that her Sun and Jupiter fall in Trump's 6th house of open enemies, which makes a lot of sense. If you read Unhinged or have any thoughts or comments on Omarosa and Trump, I'd love to hear what you have to say in the comments. While we're at it, please like this video and subscribe to my channel if you have not already. And if you are looking for a psychic astrology reading, we will read your tarot cards, run your astrological chart, make sense of these times that we're in today. Just check out my website, psychicsun.com, and we will hook you up with a reading. And I'll put that link in the description below. Also today, we have the Pandora Papers that have been released. This is an expose of the financial secrets and offshore dealings of dozens of heads of state, public officials, and politicians from 91 countries and territories. Quote, many of the power players who could help bring an end to the offshore system instead benefit from it, stashing assets in covert companies and trusts where their governments do little to slow a global stream of illicit money that enriches criminals and impoverished nations, the ICIJ said in the introduction to the series. So why is this happening? Well, Pluto is in Capricorn, which is drudging up the unconscious and bringing up anything past its time. Corrupted or degenerate systems and complexes are brought to light now so that life can be renewed. Also, with Pluto and Capricorn, the social structures we have built are collapsing because they're based on values and ideas that no longer work for the mass of humanity. Also, with Pluto and Capricorn, we can expect changes to the structure of society and the laws that govern nations, finance, business, and global trade. So we can expect laws to change in light of this. Also, how we relate to and define hierarchies, authority, and power. Pluto brings to light corrupt structures and abuses of power collectively and individually. So, in a lot of respects, this is like draining the swamp. It harkens back to times up for a lot of people. And for ourselves, it's really about looking at the structures we built our life on, those values that had mattered to us before. Do they still matter? Or are we, because an object in motion likes to stay in motion, are we following the same trajectory, moving toward old values that are no longer relevant? So check in with yourself in regard to your values. Also today, in addition to Buster Keaton, it's Jackie Collins' birthday. She'd be 84 today, but she unfortunately passed in 2014. Jackie Collins is a novelist, English novelist, wrote a lot of books in the 80s, divulging a lot of secrets about Hollywood. In fact, you can actually check out on Netflix Lady Boss, the Jackie Collins story, which is fascinating. Even if you're not into her books, you might want to look at this documentary as it's very illuminating and I think inspiring for a lot of women. So check that out. It's on Netflix and it's really, really good. When we look at her chart, it's no surprise that Jackie Collins was a double Libra, Sun and Moon, both in the sign of partnerships in the 2nd house of self-expression, which makes a lot of sense. Not only was she married a few times, but the topics that she wrote about were very Libra. Social graces, relationships, romance, beauty, vanity, all of those things. Virgo rising, which makes a lot of sense too, because it's been said that her writing is very sensual. She can bring people into scenes because she is a very tactile, physical person, or was. Virgo rising makes Mercury the ruler of her chart, the planet of communication, and Mercury is actually conjunct Neptune of the imagination. So this is, signature of a writer, especially because it's in Virgo, but Mercury, the planet of communication, touching Neptune means that she can be very imaginative and creative and even be able to channel, because Neptune is about spirituality. She would lock herself, I don't know if she'd locked herself, but she'd put herself in her study, one of her studies, and she would write, and she would use it as an escape, and who's to say, maybe she channeled a lot of the stuff that she wrote. I think that I think that she did. I think a lot of writers do. So maybe we can also do this ourselves with our own creative projects. In any case, be sure to check out Lady Boss, the Jackie Collins story on Netflix if you are so inclined. That's about it from here, folks. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you soon.
Get up and join the parade, marching in.